Hey everyone, what's happening? If you're new to the channel, please take a second to hit the subscribe button and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Well, today's video is going to be another slight mod here on the Wrangler. These factory JK and JKU bumpers are pretty crappy. They're just all plastic. They tend to fade pretty quickly, and they're notorious for these dents and dings. Got this Jeep used a while back, and it already had a bunch of dings and dents here in the front bumper, and I wanted to switch it out ever since I got it, but I was just waiting for the takeoff, which I finally found one local enough. Most of them were hour, 2 hours away. So what we have here is a Sahara JL bumper. I was hoping to get a JL Rubicon bumper with the red tow hooks. It would have made it really pop here on the silver Wrangler, but oh well. Still the style front bumper I wanted with the silver accents. It makes it look a whole lot nicer, and especially with this Jeep being silver, I think it will be a drastic improvement from these stock black plastic ones. The fog lights on these are further out as well, which will make it look nicer. The only problem with that is we may have to extend the harness since these fog lights are so close together. There isn't too many videos showing an install here on YouTube, so I'm going to film this here. But this takeoff came with everything. It was the Sahara front bumper, the splash pan, and the trim piece, as well as all the old hardware. I'm not sure how much of this we'll actually use. I'm not sure if the JL splash pan will work, but we'll see. If it does, probably put that on. And as far as the trim piece, again, I don't know if that'll line up, but if not, I'll just stick with the stock one, which should work nice. But we'll get to installing this here. It's going to be pretty easy. It'll just be 4 18mm bolts on each side of the frame rail. Gonna be hard to see back in here, but there the 2 are on the outside. There'll be 2 more on the inside, and then you'll have a few push pins down here on the factory splash pan. This one on this side I already popped out just to save a little time here for the video, but they'll just pop right out. So those automotive style fasteners. But we'll get to taking this off here. Some of the tools you'll probably need, and this list may grow, is an impact gun. You'll probably want a swivel to get in there to those bumper bolts easier. You'll need an 18mm socket, and you'll need some screwdrivers to pop those automotive fasteners, unless you have a trim removal tool, which is one thing I still don't have. As many of these as I work on, I should have that by now, but it will be on the list to get here shortly. But I think it's going to be a huge improvement going to this newer style Sahara bumper, and I think that silver accent will make it pop nice. Alright guys, so we have all the outside the frame rail nuts and plates off the front bumper. They were pretty easy to get to and take off. The inside ones may be a little more challenging. I popped that other tab out of the splash pan that goes right there. I was hoping not to have to take the splash pan off the bumper, but that definitely has to go so you can get up in there to get to those inside the frame rail nuts. But it's just a bunch of these automotive fasteners along there. So I'll finish popping them out. Here's the driver's side there. You can see you have that plate and the two nuts off. So this shouldn't take too terribly long, and we'll have the new one on there. But a few more of these fasteners. You just release the outside and then just pull the whole thing out. And then that'll give us access to hopefully get up in here. It looks like it's still going to be awfully tight, but definitely ain't doing it with that there. But one more here, and this will be off. So we got all the nuts and plates off the back side of the bumper, and we got the splash pan out. That was easy. The inside bolts weren't too bad. The driver's side one behind the vacuum pump was probably the worst. Absolutely hardly any room to get in there. You can see the stud right there. But that's probably the hardest one to get to. The rest were easy. You can see up there I have the fog lights unplugged. So this bumper is ready to come off. The only thing we'll have to do is release the wiring harness once we get it pulled out a little bit to see in there. So I slid this bumper front. Just have the stud sticking in through the mounts just a little bit so it doesn't fall off. And you can see there, you got 3 tabs down in there holding your wiring harness. So you need to pop those loose. There's one there, there, and then over here. So you need to pop them out, and this bumper will be totally free. And just like that, the front bumper is off. Probably go ahead and clean up these frame mounts here a little before putting the new bumper back on. But there it is, guys. If you compare the two, I think this is going to be a real nice upgrade. But next up here, I'll wipe off these frame mounts and get ready for the install. While this was off, I decided to take the time and just shoot it quick with a little black paint. Wasn't too rusty under here, but since I won't be back under here probably anytime while I have this Jeep, I figured I'd spray it. That way it's all good to go. And then this new style bumper here, the fog lights are out at the ends, so you got 6 push pins there you gotta pop out to get these covers off so you can get in there to the fog lights. So I got them all pulled out here and they just pop out. So there that is. So you can get into your bulb there. Does look like the connections are exactly the same. Yep. That's the old bumper there. And this is the new one here. So 2014 and up. I forget when they did change these, but somewhere in there, probably 2013, I believe. 2013 or 2014 and up. Everything should work. Like I said, we'll just have to see here on the wiring harness if that's going to be long enough. But I'll pop that other cover off over there on the passenger side, and then we'll get this bumper slid on. Alright guys, and another thing I want to do is get this old plastic piece off. We may have to reuse it, or we may incorporate it with the one that came with the JL bumper. But it needs to come off here. That way we can see what we have to work with. And these factory style fasteners, the Phillips little plastic screw head things in there, just totally strip out. So the only way to get these out is just drill them out. So I'm going to do that here next, and then we'll get that bumper on. So we drilled out those two plastic fasteners, and that piece came right off. So now we'll have room there to work and see which one we end up reusing. But we are ready to slide the new bumper on. So you just line up your 8 bolts there, and you slide them in to the mount. And look at that, guys. Day and night difference. New bumper there versus smashed up black plastic looking one there. Huge appearance upgrade. So we'll get this button back up here, which shouldn't be hard. Like I said, I'll see once what trim filler we're going to use here, as well as if we use any of these splash pans. It doesn't look like the JL one will work because the mounts are totally different. So we'll have to see if the factory JK one will match up with the bumper there where these tab mounts were. If that lines up, then we'll probably reuse that. Otherwise, we might have to just run without one, which it looks pretty good without it. You can see a little bit there of your bottom of your frame there sticking down below the bumper, but it's not too bad at all, really. And that plastic piece doesn't do a whole terrible lot, just kind of hides some of your steering linkage in the bottom part of your frame there. But we'll see how that works out. But as far as the bumper, my oh my, guys, look at that. And the silver blends right in with the silver of the Jeep. Looks amazing. We got these plates and nuts to get back on, so we'll do that next, and then I'll check the wiring. I don't think it's gonna be long enough to reach here. I'm pretty sure it ain't gonna be, but I'll check that, and like I said, if it isn't, I'll go online quick here tonight and I'll order those extension pigtails that they sell. That way there's no splicing of the wires. Which you could easily splice this, cut the factory plugs off, and extend them, but when the extension kits are so cheap, it'd be a whole lot easier just to get them. That way everything is watertight, and you're not cutting into the factory harnesses. I hate when people start doing that. Down the road, when stuff starts shorting or corroding, you just have no idea where to begin to even start tracing. Alright guys, so the bumper is all bolted on tight. Next up, we're going to be working with this gap in here. As you can see, the JL piece, the bolt holes do not line up. So we're not going to be able to use that, at least the whole piece. But I do like how it comes up and fills in this gap here by the back of the bumper with that lip. Makes that look nice and clean. So I may end up cutting that flap off of there and using it with the stock piece, because the stock piece leaves a little gap between here and that piece. So if I put that other trim piece on there, I think that'll make it look even cleaner. So we'll see. But as far as the trim piece, you're definitely going to have to stick with the factory JK piece, because the JL one does not work. But we'll get that back on. And then, like I said, I may just cut the back lip off of this piece and just pop all those pins in, and that should fill in that gap there behind the bumper pretty nicely, which it mounts all along there. So I think I'll try that and see how that looks. Alright guys, so I just took a razor blade and I just scored right along that edge there, and this trim piece just trimmed off there real nice. So I'll see once here if I like the way it looks. Fit in there pretty nicely and trim out the back of that bumper. So that is going to work out pretty well. Hard to get in there to get a shot of it. You only got a couple inches to work with, but you can see it laying across up through there. And so get those push pins popped in, and we'll be on to the splash pan to see if that'll work. We got that filler tray all back in, as well as that back piece there that we cut off of the JL filler piece. So you can see where all those clips across there are. It trimmed that off real nicely, covered up some of the open edge of the back of that bumper. And next up here is going to be the splash trays. Like I said, the factory one is probably going to be the only one that'll work, the original JK version, because the JL is a different mounting system. The mounting points are there and there for the underside, whereas the JKs use these plastic tabs that go up behind that frame bar there that hangs down. And the next determining factor is if these mounting holes line up, which I guess I could bring it over here and see once if they look like they're even going to be close, which they don't, but we could end up drilling holes if we had to make that work. But I'm going to hold it up under there and see where we're at. Alright guys, so we did a little trimming here on the factory JK splash pan. It fits pretty well. The only thing is the corners need a slight trim. As you can see here, just this little piece I trimmed off of there, which allows clearance for these white covers. Since the fog lights are over on the side here, They have covers to keep the stones and stuff from hitting them. And with them on, they stick into the edge of the splash tray area there. And they mount right in like this. And it doesn't allow for that last little lip to be there. So with trimming that off, the factory splash pan will go right back up on there. But the wiring is just a tad short. I mean, so close. You can see it there. It's just 3 inches probably too short. So I will get those factory style extenders. And like I said, I will put a link to those in the description of this video in case you want to pick those up as well. But here on the driver's side, same thing. Their wire is that close to working. So I think they're 5 inches and then like 16 inches. So I think I'm going to go with the 5 inches. That way it keeps everything nice and clean, and 16 inches is just going to be a lot of wiring. Plus their 16 inches are double the price. So I think they're around 10 bucks for 5-inch ones. And I'll get them ordered here this evening. So we'll get this splash pan back up on there now. Like I said, it was just trimming these corners. This side needed that style of a trim, and then this side, which is styled different, which was kind of strange, needed this whole piece trimmed off. But with that trimmed off, everything else lines right up, and then your mounts back there line up like they were originally on the drop down part of the frame there. So it is definitely possible to make the splash tray work with just a tiny bit of trimming there in the corners. So I'll get that on, and I'll get these end caps on, and that'll be a wrap for today. And then, like I said, as soon as those harnesses come in, I'll get those on. Alright guys, and there we are. Everything's on. And everything's done, except we'll need to hook up the wiring extensions when they come. But other than that, nice easy process of ripping the old one off. And then there's with the light covers, the back pieces there in. And then you can see here, well, maybe you can see, that's where you need to trim the splash tray just to fit in behind those light shields. But it fits in there perfect. And then your frame mounts hook right back up on your splash tray there, as you can see on both sides. And it gives it a super, super clean look. You just got to trim that to allow clearance. But other than that, everything else fits in there perfect. And then there's the frame tab again here on this side. Fits like a glove. Definitely makes it a cleaner look with it on too, so I'm glad I took the time to trim them. But there it is, guys. Huge upgrade in the appearance. And if you haven't already watched the Jeep aluminum fuel door mod, you can go back in the playlist and take a look at that. It's another real easy install and makes it look a whole lot nicer and just having that all open. Some of the models come with that from the factory, but if you watch that video, there's a link in it to this product. It's cheap on eBay, 20 bucks or so, and it's nice aluminum and a great upgrade. And these 33-inch tires are still working out great. If you haven't seen that video or the update of off-roading them, again, check the playlist. It'll be in there. Other than those wiring harnesses, this is done. So as soon as I get them, I'll install them, and you'll get to see how it looks completed and the lights working. But I'm just really amazed at how this splash guard came out. I mean, it fits in there beautifully. Okay, so it's been a few days here, and the wiring extensions came that I ordered on eBay. First off, I'm super impressed with the packaging. They're vacuum sealed almost, it looks like here, in a foil sleeve, so that's pretty impressive. A lot of this stuff just comes in those bubble envelopes. Let me get this open and see once what the actual product looks like. Wow, it even comes in a box, guys. Gee, look at this. It's even in a foam sleeve. Hey, here's a free glove to wear when you're handling bulbs, I guess, so you don't get fingerprints on the bulbs. That's cool. It didn't even say it came with that. But here are the extensions down in this foam sleeve. I think I initially said they were like 6 inches or so. After I looked at the listing, it was more like 8 or 9, but there they are. Looks pretty good quality packaging and everything for the money, guys. I mean, it's less than $10 for the whole thing, and they probably had $3-4 in shipping at least. So highly recommend it. Like I said, I will have a link to the eBay listing in the description of the video, so check it out. Alright, so we got this cover popped back off. It's just 6 of those push pins, and there's the back of the light, and here is the factory wiring. Like I showed earlier, it was just about 3 inches short of the light. So next we'll hook up this extension harness, and it'll be fully functional. So we got the extension harness all hooked up. It's the perfect length. You can see there it's plugged into the factory harness, looped up around the light, and right into the back. All the connections are nice and tight, and it seems like a pretty quality product for less than $9. Before going any further and buttoning this back up, I want to make sure that the light works. So I'll go ahead here and see if this side comes on. Alright. So fog light's working. So I'll get this side put back together, and I'll do the same thing on the other side, and then this job will be done. I'm so glad I went with these harnesses. Like I said, you can easily cut your factory harness, but for less than $9, I would highly recommend just getting the extensions. You won't have any spliced wires, And if you use your Wrangler for any off-roading, or it's going to be right up front here where your tires are slinging salt in the winter and all that, it's just going to be a much, much better way of doing it with less corrosion and less chances of shorts in your wiring. Alright, so we got the driver's side harness all connected. Again, it's the perfect length. Just loops out around the fog light and plugs right back in. Super nice, clean looking. So all that's left is to pop this cover back on, and this project will be completed. Alright guys, got everything buttoned back up, and fog lights are now functional again. But look at that front end. Huge, huge improvement over that lousy stock factory JK bumper. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and it gave you some ideas if you want to stick with a cheap upgrade. This bumper cost me $60 for all the parts, and like I said, you can even find the Rubicons for around there, $60 to $80 as takeoffs. And again, if you want to make it extra clean, cut that lip off of the factory JL filler piece and use it in conjunction with the factory JK filler piece for a very clean look. But again, the silver accents is just day and night, especially with a silver Jeep. But even on a black Jeep or any other color Jeep, really, these Sahara and Rubicon JL bumpers are a huge, huge, huge improvement. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to keep these videos coming. You can also follow me on Facebook. The link is in the description below.